Nigeria's National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu says the country is losing 400,000 barrels of crude oil daily to local and international thieves, despite efforts to end the menace. Ribadu said this at Owaza in Abia and Odogwa in Eche local government area of Rivers State when he led a presidential delegation to inspect oil and gas facilities. He said the activities of oil thieves and pipeline vandals had impacted the country's economy negatively and were partly responsible for the rising cost of living in the country. Ribadu said operators of artisanal refineries collect a small quantity of crude oil when they break the pipelines, while larger volumes of oil are spilled on the environment. The NSA said President Bola Tinubu's administration is concerned about the development and taking actionable steps to address the matter.
And we are really excited and happy to see what exactly is going on. We have come, we were sent by Mr. President. We have witnessed it now. We are going back to Abuja and we are going to give him exactly what we have seen. It's unfortunate, it's tragic, where people, their own wealth, their own resources, common resources to all, few individuals will come in, destroy it. In the process, unbelievable loss to not just the nation of Nigeria, but to their own community, to their own people. We have seen it, unbelievable, where so much money is spent to build an infrastructure for the common good of all. Individuals will come in and destroy it. And then in the process, destroy the environment, destroy livelihood, destroy the source of revenue. And it is reflected in the difficulties we are facing. We've seen that. We are working hard. We have seen also those who are working extra, particularly our security forces. We want to commend them, we want to thank them. We also have seen the work of those employed by NNPC to give extra support in trying to secure those places.
All right, I know what's going through your mind. Deja vu, we've seen this before, Mr. NSA. How well have you been able to get these bad guys? Are they some kind of, unseen forces? Well, for more on what should be done by this new administration, I'm being joined from our Lagos studios by Chuks Emeka. He's an oil and gas analyst. Chuks Emeka, good to see you and thanks for your time. You know, this sounds very familiar, listening to Mr. Ribadu, and what many Nigerians have always asked is how helpless can a nation be in a case like this? But let's start by painting a picture, if you will. How bad is this?
Anyway, Nigeria has been losing billions of dollars weekly over oil theft. It has become a menace that needs to be dealt with instantly. We can't overemphasize what the danger Nigeria is heading to by the reason of oil theft. It has become something we can't talk about in the international community. Oil theft as at today is a strong problem, a big problem for Nigeria, because the kind of money being moved out weekly and monthly, even annually, is enough to offset our debts. The vessel that was intercepted by Tanita some few weeks ago, probably a month ago, was carrying about 150,000 metric tons of crude oil, which is about $180 million. That is just for one vessel. Now, we have feeders from that axis that we have about 7 vessels entering that channel weekly. This is going to be about $1.something billion that we will be losing by the reason of these saboteurs. When I mean by saboteurs, I'm not talking about people who are carrying gallon in the Niger Delta. These are not saboteurs. The saboteurs are the big players, those who have the capacity to hire vessels and bring it through the channel illegally. It is of noteworthy, even in the news, that those vessels, most of those vessels that come into those channels are undocumented. In fact, one of the vessels, MT Tura, who was arrested, that time, actually was renamed because it was once arrested in 2013. It was now renamed MT Tura and brought into Nigeria. You know, it is amazing how our waterways and our marine channels have become so porous that vessels as big as 500,000 metric tons vessels are not small vessels. This is not a car. These are vessels that everybody will know that the vessel enters into our channel. But at the end of the day, we find out that these vessels can pass through this channel, pass through the security operatives, and nobody can actually ask questions and find out what they are doing here. So it's a big shame. It's a disaster that is looming to happen. So the federal government hiring Tanita Securities through the NNPC. Hello?
Well, I can hear you, but again, just let me jump in here. Before you get to that aspect, let's also try. We're trying to look at how bad this is, or how helpless can a nation be. Keep in mind, Chuks, Nigeria ranks 14 in countries that produce oil. The United States is #1, topping Saudi Arabia. So is it too difficult a thing for Nigeria to study the United States and Saudi Arabia, where a drop isn't lost without a trace?
Yes. To deal with the criminality in the oil and gas sector is very straightforward. We have to bring in experts. We have to bring in professionals, those who can do the job. The oil installations, the pipelines in the oil and gas sector are not to be, the security and management there are not to be used for political settlement. For Nigeria to be able to do things right, we must look for professionals, those who are patriotic, those who want the country to move forward, those who are also experts in that field. That's the only way we can get these things right. Practically in every sector, we must get people who know the job, people who know what to do, not people who are coming on the basis of they know somebody there, they know somebody in government. No, we need people who know the job, people who can deliver as at when due. That's the only way we can grow this country. That's the only way we can protect our national assets, protect our national infrastructure.
I think that the first step should be, Chukwuemeka, apologies for butting in there. Don't you think that the first step would be to employ technology, the use of technology? But as it is now, we keep talking about putting boots on the ground. There is a private security concern trying to protect or watch over our oil. We have the Navy, we have the NSCDC. Still, we're getting to see these numbers adding up and nothing to show that we are on this. Being an expert in this field, how difficult is it for us to employ technology in nipping this?
There is nothing bad in bringing in technology, but technology is actually being driven by humans. The activities in the Niger Delta require people who know the Niger Delta, require people who understand the activities going on there. You can't just deploy technology on nothing. It has to be properly deployed by people who understand what is going on. Let me tell you. To track a vessel, you need surveillance. You need information to be able to get what is going on there, to be able to understand that the vessel part comes into your channel and it's a loaded product and is leaving. It requires professionalism. Let me also say this. We have had other private security companies over the years. In fact, we've not gotten any result. We've seen nothing being done. We've seen our national patrimony being frittered away by oil thieves. Not until Tanita Security stepped up their game and begin to deal with these issues at the root.
Not about Tantita. And that is why we're talking about a minute. And that is why we're talking about technology. We haven't tried technology yet. We're talking about Tantita. I've spoken with Tantita, our spokesperson, in times past, and one of the key things they've also used is technology. So if a private security concern can employ technology in tracking ships and vessels, what is the big deal about a country employing technology to also see what amount of effort they can bring to bear?
Yes, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong in using technology. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing big. There's not a big deal using technology. But like I said earlier, using technology, you need also human effort. You need also human analysis. You also need human beings who understand that axis.
It looks very much like a back and forth thing. Well, Chuks, again, I bought in because initially you said we must use humans who understand the terrain. And I'm saying in using humans who understand the terrain, Nigeria, that's why I'm saying we haven't employed technology to first say that has failed before we bring in humans. So many people out there are saying it looks as if past administrations and governments have actually done what they're doing, look the other way, and ensure that some people illegally enrich themselves.
Yes, yeah. No, I said, look, listen. When you say deploy technology, a nation should deploy technology. The question I also ask is, do you deploy technology on nothing? You don't deploy technology on nothing. You have to deploy technology based on the information you have. Now, why am I saying this? With what has happened in the past 1 year since these guys took part in these security activities, it shows that they know what they are doing. It shows that they understand. What are we supposed to do as a nation is to encourage them. Is to also bring the technology to back up what they are doing currently.
Before we say we encourage them, I'll tell you what people are saying they're not doing right. I've had conversation here with Anku Briggs, a former environmentalist and someone who's been pushing for the cleanup exercise in Niger Delta. If Tantita actually know the business, then you don't set a ship on fire and cause more pollution. And you don't set an evidence, you don't destroy any evidence. So how do we as a country come into this to the extent that Tantita will stop destroying evidence, will also stop polluting our environment that is already damaged from pollution?
There have been massive environmental damage going on, even in the destruction of pipeline. I for once, we strongly support the destruction of that vessel. That vessel, take note, that vessel has been doing this state operation for the past 12 years. It didn't start that day. Neither did it start a year ago. That vessel has been doing this operation consistently for 12 years. Now, to show a deterrent to other people who might want to come on with this kind of game, the destruction of that vessel is very important to show them that Nigeria is no more a playing ground for oil thieves.
Then it means one thing. It means one thing. We do not have an expert at Tantita. If you have an expert there, then you understand that if you put on the scale the degradation and the pollution you have caused that environment far outweighs what you're trying to stop. And that is why we're saying, shouldn't Tantita or the government or anyone be brought in and looked carefully towards using technology, the Saudi Arabia way, the United States way? So why is it that we still go the local way, which truly hasn't helped anyone. For anyone watching us today, we have to be honest. For Tantita destroying evidence, you say you support that, and Tantita also polluting that environment, the Niger Delta. I think that Tantita is liable.
Hello? Let me
yeah,
say
I can
this.
hear you.
That vessel, I want to say it so that you understand the reason why that vessel has to be destroyed. Environmental pollution is a challenge already in the Niger Delta. Nobody is disputing that. That's why we in the Niger Delta, we are telling the government that that place has to be looked into. Now, Tantita and the security agents destroying that vessel, for me, is showing to the outside world and this international, because let me tell you, the deal of looting our oil infrastructures in Nigeria is not just done by Nigerians alone. There is international partnership. The big boys over there are big boys across this nation in partnership with oil and gas companies, and foreign interference are the ones doing this. Now, if Nigeria destroys a vessel that stole product worth that value, it sends a strong signal to every outsider that is partnering with the thieves here that it is no more a game as usual. So that is why I support what the security agents and Tantita and even the NNPC did by destroying that vessel. Although we know that there is an effect it will cause to the environment there. But is it not far better that we stopped a thief from stealing than to catch the thief and leave it? Tomorrow the thief escapes and come back again with another name.
I will.
So it is very necessary that we show a sign that we are serious as a nation.
Well, we will move towards the cleanup, because if we decide to stay on this, you understand, and I'm hoping that you'll be honest about this, that is actually barbaric. Primitive. You do not destroy evidence. For the police who's recovered any vehicle that is being used for theft or armed robbery, you don't burn the vehicle, let alone destroy our aquatic life. If we all live in that community where you say you're very familiar with, and the ordinary fishermen and women who eke living from that water, Tantita cannot say they have not caused those people a whole lot. By the way, let's talk about some people that have been so fingered. The destruction of a vessel and the arrest of some of these people is enough to send a signal if we truly will follow the legal processes. What do you think we haven't done so far to the extent that it makes it look like a lucrative business for people even outside the country to still look towards Nigeria?
Anyway, what Nigeria has not done that is amazing me so far is that we have the NIMASA, we have Nigerian Ports Authority, we have the Inland Waterways. I don't know how a vessel will enter into our water space without documentation. I can't understand that. There is nobody that can move a vessel into Ghana without the Ghanaian government, the Ghanaian authorities having a proper information about those vessels. So the NIMASA, Nigerian Ports Authority, and the Inland Waterways should be able to have a proper documentation. Understand that any vessel coming into Nigeria must be passed through proper protocol. This country is not a dumping ground. This is not a place anybody comes to just come and play around. That is why I said, and I'm saying it, quoting it anywhere, that the destruction of that vessel sends a signal to everyone. It shows that we are serious. Now the NNPC, the Nigerian Ports Authority, the NIMASA, and the Inland Waterways should be able to tell us how many vessels enters into this country. What documentations do they have? Now, if we ask most of these agencies concerning MT Tura, we can't get proper information from them. We can't get proper documentations from them. So the Nigerian government needs to look into the activities of the NIMASA, look into the activities of Nigerian Ports Authority, look into the activities of Inland Waterways, and see how these organizations can have synergy in helping the security. Because if a thief is coming into maybe an estate and he's intercepted at the gate or into a house and intercepted, it's far better than the thief entering into the house, stealing, and being caught when he stole, which is far better.
And again, as we close, since you've been harping on this, we must call a spade a spade. The government also should look into the activities of Tantita, and Tantita must also apologize to that community and to Nigerians for destroying our aquatic life. And again, we should also look towards a cleanup. If you're trying to push for a stop to all of this, we must also ask that a review of the people and how much of education they have and enlightenment they do have about aquatic life and living of those people must be brought to bear. I'd like to thank you for your time, and I'm hoping that this conversation will continue so that we can have a better process and a better cleanup for the people of Niger Delta as Nigeria looks towards getting more revenue from its oil production. Chuks Emeka, an oil and gas expert, thank you for your time.